So hi, my name is Jen. If you've not met me before, I am a software tester. I work for the BBC. But what I do most of the time when I'm at conferences and things is talk about mental health and feelings, because it's my favourite thing to talk about. That is my Twitter handle, @Jem_Hill. Everything I say is on the speaker notes for the slides. There is a link on the last slide to the speaker notes, so if I talk too quickly, you miss something, or you want to look at it afterwards, you can look there. Also, I'm not going to talk about anything massively in detail about any of my symptoms, so there shouldn't be any trigger warnings needed, but if you do find yourself uncomfortable, please feel free to leave. Similarly, if you need to go to the loo, please feel free to go do that, because everything is on speaker notes, so you won't miss anything other than me saying it in a slightly less eloquent way than they are in the speaker notes. So, what I'm going to talk about today specifically is I talked in two sections. There is a section about how I look after my mental health, how I check in with myself, and then there is a section on how to have those conversations and how to cope when someone comes to you and goes, I'm having trouble. Because everyone wants to be helpful to people who are having struggles with mental ill health, right? But those conversations are also quite hard to have, and they're quite hard to feel like you're handling them in a way that is helpful and correct and not really, really awkward. As the one who has had those conversations from both sides of the table, I've got some tips, and so I can share those with you as well. So hopefully you'll come out of this talk with some ideas on maybe how to check in with your mental health, regardless of if you're suffering with mental illness or not, and how to have some conversations about that. Because we all have mental ill health. Okay, we may not all have diagnosable mental illness, but we all go through periods of feeling of mental ill health, stress, losing something or someone. When you're physically ill, you can get a lot more anxious about that kind of things, and that can lead to mental ill health. They may be short, situational. It's called situational mental ill health, where an external or a different situation is causing mental ill health, but we'll all go through that. So these tips are useful to have regardless of your experience with mental ill health, because we will all go through it at some point in our lives. Life, unfortunately, will kick us in the face at some point. So can you hear me at the back? I'm not sure how loud I'm talking. Are we all good? Excellent. Just shout out if you can't, that's fine.
I think there is a microphone on the desk.
Is there? Is it this thing?
Yeah, I think it's built in.
Okay. I should stand. Oh, I won't do wandering then. I'll try and stay here. I'm a bit of a wanderer, but I'll try and stay around here then. Yeah. Is this going to work? No. Perfect. Okay. It works on here, but not on there. Anything?
Is it on freeze?
You know what? I'm just gonna. Is that? So it's working on here, but then if I put that over there, put that up there. Hey, it's working now. Who knows? Cool. So my mental health status. Sorry, I'll stay here. My mental health status is that I suffer from generalised anxiety disorder, a very mild case of complex PTSD. I am medicated. I've been on beds for about 7 years, and I am in therapy. So I am very familiar with the mental health system and dealing with that kind of stuff. I'm very open about this stuff because the more I talk about it, the less weird it is to talk about. It's less scary for me because the more I say things and then people aren't weird about it, the less scary it is to talk about things, which means it's less... Because I suffer from anxiety, everything is scary. If I can make things less scary, brilliant. There are always people who appreciate me talking about it. There's always someone who comes to me and goes, "Thank you for talking about it." There was someone at my old work, at my work, I worked for the BBC, who came to me and said that because I'm a senior tester, she applied for a senior tester role after hearing me talk about my mental health issues, because she also suffers from mental health issues. I thought, well, if she can do it, maybe I can do it as well. So it does make a massive difference. The reason I know so much about self-care is that I've had to pull myself off the ground and figure this stuff out myself. If I can help one other person to have this stuff in their toolkit so they don't have to learn it the hard way, then it makes it kind of all worth it. There was something that I can get out of the struggles that I went through trying to get diagnosed. So that's kind of why I'm here talking about this stuff. This is just going to be a thing that happens where I can't change this to the next slide. There we go. So, the biggest thing I want to talk about today is being aware of your feelings and emotions, which is a really weird thing to say because people are generally aware of what they're feeling, right? But I wonder how much we engage with those feelings in a really, entirely rounded way. I didn't until I started doing therapy. So I did cognitive behavioural therapy, which is where you look at the feelings you're having and you try to find evidence for those feelings and evidence against those feelings. It's a good way of dealing with anxiety because you have evidence in front of you that your brain is lying to you when it's anxious about things, which anxiety is a lot of the time, is your brain lying to you about things going wrong. I'm not saying you have to be constantly navel-gazing, because who has the time for that, right? No one. But I like writing, I like figuring out what's triggering strong emotions, good and bad. I keep a gratitude journal, so I write down one thing every day that I'm grateful for, so as a reminder of the good things in my life. But if I have a particularly strong negative emotion as well, I try to figure out where that's come from, what's triggering it. Just because it's useful information to have. Knowing your own mind is quite useful, and knowing why you have feelings is quite useful to have. Whether it's something that you can avoid in the future, or whether it's something that you need to work on, it's always worth having. Even if you do nothing, it's still information. Information by itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It is a lot of work. It can be a lot of work. On the slides for this, there is a PDF of a cognitive behavioural worksheet where you write down your feelings, evidence before, evidence against, and you can rate how strong those feelings are. If you want to give that a go, you can. It's not helpful to everyone, absolutely not, but it is to me. Because there's the thing about mental health as well. What's helpful to me might not be helpful to everyone else because it's entirely unique. So I'm just giving you what helps me and hoping that you either find something useful or it kind of inspires you to think about this stuff. Because it might not work for you. That you might look at this stuff and go, no, and that's fine. Everything is so unique that all we can do is talk about our own experiences and hope that something connects somewhere. Actually, there's a book called Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When the Stakes Are High. Do you know if anyone's heard of that book? That book is really good for thinking about how the feelings that you feel in the moment. That's actually a really good book. It's aimed at things like managers talking, having hard conversations with staff, but it's actually really good for communication across the board. The examples are a bit heteronormative. It's always Bill and his wife Emily. But other than that, genuinely quite a good book. I highly recommend it. So the first thing I do is I write all the time. I am constantly writing things somewhere. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my mouse over to this side. A friend of mine once said that writing is the cheapest form of therapy you can get. Because all therapies is talking about your feelings and interrogating your feelings. And the reason I particularly like writing is because you can't write as fast as you can think. When you're stuck in a stressful situation or an anxious situation and your mind is going at 50 miles an hour, writing things out is a way of getting it to slow down because you can only keep up with your hand. When I say writing, I write by hand with a pen and paper because that's what feels good to me. You don't have to. You can type it out. You can talk it. You can record yourself talking it out. You can do sketch notes and mind maps, whatever you want to do. What I find helpful is getting my thoughts out in a way that I can review them back. Because reviewing them back often leads to revelations about things, right? So that is why when I say writing, I mean getting your thoughts out in a way where you can review them at a later date and they are concrete and it is slower than your thoughts. So for me, that is writing. Again, you might not be able to do anything with those feelings, all that information. It's having that information and being aware of things that, for me, really helps. No. That way. Right. We're really mean to ourselves as a species, right? All the time. Really mean to ourselves. How often have we stayed awake thinking of things that, interactions that the other person does not remember? When the waiter said, enjoy your meal, and you went, thanks, you too. That kind of stuff that keeps you, those interactions, that person's not going to remember, but you remember, and you'll remember at 3 a.m. We're really mean to ourselves all the time. The reason I write something that I'm grateful for every day is to remind myself that there are good things in my life. And I don't do a unique thing every day, so I'll just write what I'm grateful for, even if I've been grateful for it before. Because that means I've got something in my life that stays in my life, a constant that makes me happy. Whether it be friends, whether it be someone at work, it is a constant that makes me grateful for my life. And I've done that for a year and a half now. And I found it really powerful. Again, it might not work for you. But my main message here is give yourself a bit of a break, maybe. And remind yourself you're good. I keep my CV up to date all the time, not because I'm constantly looking for work, but because one, it's awful updating your CV when you are looking for a job, right? It is one of the worst things in the world. And two, I have a list of achievements that I have done at work that I can look back on and go, maybe I can do my job. Maybe I'm not the worst. And it sounds so ridiculous and so simple, but for me it is ridiculously powerful to have a black and white record of things that make me feel good, that I can be proud of. Because it stops me being mean to myself. I have to be kind to myself. And that's really hard. But I find if I'm kind to myself, I find it a lot easier to be kind to others. And being in a tech company, being in a tech environment, empathy to our users, to other people, is massive. It is so important. And this, to me, is a really easy way of doing it. Because I've got to be nice to myself, so I'm going to be nice to other people. So, I'm going to talk about self-care now. Like traditional self-care, what we think of when we hear self-care. So, self-care isn't always meditation and bubble baths and yoga, though it can be all of those things. I am not crapping on bubble baths, meditation and yoga. But there is so much more to self-care, right? Sometimes it is that. I'll let people take a photo of that first. It's one of my favourite tweets in the world. Well, it's on Tumblr, but you know. There are levels of self-care that you can do, from the most basic stuff to the more complex stuff, and I'm going to talk about all of them as well, and how I use self-care and what I can do and what I can't do as a barometer for how well I'm doing. So. Nope. Come on. Your basic self-care. Brushing your teeth in the morning and the evening, showering regularly, feeding yourself something that isn't just McDonald's night after night after night, or your fast food of choice, I don't know, whatever. Making yourself presentable to yourself and to other humans. When I'm feeling really bad, brushing my teeth is the first thing to go. My teeth are awful because I didn't brush them for a while because I was too busy struggling with everything else. That is my warning sign. That is pound the alarm. I need to do some work on myself for me. It tends to be that, or showering, or wearing clean clothes for a lot of people that I speak to. It tends to be that kind of really basic, I don't deserve to be nice and clean. Because you feel quite nice after a shower, don't you? When putting clean clothes on, you feel good. And deep down, you don't feel like you deserve that, so you don't do it. That is my big warning sign. Making myself fit for human consumption, as I call it. Then you've got your other stuff, which is harder. But also, it's harder to do and harder to notice when it's slipping, I find. Reaching out to people. Going, hi, how are you? Whether it be just, when I say reaching out to people, I don't mean I'm having a hard time. I mean literally talking to people that you enjoy talking to. That kind of slipping, that kind of slowly coming back into yourself a little bit because everything's a little bit too hard. That's really important. That can be really important. I think it's really important for people to do. But it's really hard when you're struggling to do it. Keeping physically active. Doing something other than staying in bed, or going from the bed to the sofa and staying on the sofa, then going back to the bed again. That stuff again, it's really hard for me, that's another, these are all like warning signs when I'm not doing these things, because I love going to the gym. I'm one of those people. So if I don't want to go to the gym, that's a bit of a warning sign. Being mindful. Doesn't have to be meditation, it can just be going for a walk. Without music. Not scrolling through your phone constantly, which is a thing that I do a lot. I pick up crafts, and I do a fair amount of crafts, and I pick them up just so I'm not scrolling through my phone constantly, because I will just sit on the sofa. I'll put my laptop down and then pick up my phone and just pick up where I left off on Twitter. So doing something that isn't just mindless refreshing of a page. Doing something playful. There is a whole book that, again, there's a link to it in the slide notes for this slide. It's about the importance of play in adult life, in work life, as well as in personal life. It is a fantastic, it's like 200 pages, really quick read. And it talks about how, as children, we learn social rules through play. And then as adults, we kind of stop playing, so we stop learning sorry, let me start again. So play is a safe way of learning about social rules and how to navigate situations. Like playing board games, right? Playing Monopoly, which is the worst board game ever, but it's one that we've probably most of us have played, right? That thing of like, when do I buy something, when do I not buy something, losing all that money, all that kind of stuff. It's a safe way of navigating the unknown and taking risks, right? You learn this stuff through playing board games. And then we don't do it anymore when we're adults. Well, some of us don't, I do. But you know what I mean? Like, told to not play anymore because that's not an adult thing to do. And actually, it's really important. Reconnecting with that actually can be really fun and really important. My life has been so much better since I started organising a monthly games night in a pub. Because I'm talking to my friends and I'm playing games, but also I am playing a game and it is fun and I do not have to think about work. I can swear at the people I love the most because they've just screwed me over in this game. In fact, one of my friends also suffers with anxiety quite badly. And again, it is a safe place for us to swear at each other and get it all out because we both know we're both really competitive, but we both know it doesn't mean anything. It is a safe place. It doesn't have to be board games, that's just what I do. But something that's fun. Make your life fun, because Christ, we've only got one of them. Anxiety makes me really existential as well. So, I've got into it now. I know I need to do that. Then that. Then come over here. Oh, Max, why? I have a thought about mindfulness and mindful meditation. I like mindful meditation. On the slides there's a Dropbox links to some MP3s and some PDFs about mindful meditation if you want to give it a go. But it doesn't help everyone. In fact, for some people it makes them worse. Like there are some conditions and some ways that people think because for mindful meditation, if you've not done it, you do something called a body scan. And so you think very specifically about different parts of your body and move up or down your body. I find it really relaxing, like I can do it and just drop off to sleep halfway through. However, for some people it makes their anxiety worse. It's not going to help in a crisis, so the reason I have a bit of beef with the mindfulness meditation is because of the way the NHS has been cut and all the funding has been cut. At one point people were ringing 111 in crisis and we're being told to do mindfulness meditation. And it's like, no, I need something a bit more intense than that, really. So it's seen as a band-aid quite a bit. And also there is science coming out now that it makes some people actively worse. So try it by all means. I love it. If it doesn't work for you, please drop it because mindfulness isn't for you. And I know a lot of companies do mindfulness as a shortcut for look how great we are. And I have beef with that because mindfulness can promote and can contribute to well-being, but it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing and it certainly won't fix everything. So, but I love it. So take from that. That is my mindfulness disclaimer. So, first time! That's the first time in this talk I've done that right, first time round. Amazing. So, this is really important. I find this being really important. Someone that I can go, actually, you know what, I'm not doing great. And they just go, yeah, alright. Want to talk about it? I find lying or hiding things really hard. And I do it at work because sometimes I walk into work on a Monday morning and people go, all right, how was your weekend? And what they don't want to hear is me to go crying, mostly. No one wants that. All they want you to hear is, fine, thanks, quiet, how was yours? That's what people want, all right? And that's fine, that is a social contract, but it's nice to have someone that I can go, nah, been a bit rubbish. I find that really important. So, there is also a link to this to a mental health support Slack that I run, that I'm admin of. If you have no one that you feel you can reach out to, but you need to reach out to someone, come join that Slack. We are all people who are familiar with mental ill health. We will give you support, advice if you ask for it. We will give you a friendly ear. If it's easier to type than to talk, because trust me, when I first started talking about this stuff, it was much easier to type things out than it was to say it to someone's face and watch their face change. You can use whatever name and email you want. No one's going to know. You can be entirely anonymous. Please come and join us if you need to. Because I do feel this is really important to have this kind of support, and we can offer this support for you. Even if it's not like you're not diagnosed, right? You're just having a rough day. That's equally as important to get that stuff out as it is to go, I'm having some troubling thoughts. There are some apps, there's also a list of apps that I've crowdsourced that people find helpful with this kind of stuff as well, whether it be thinking about your feelings or finding people to talk to, all that kind of stuff. I've not tried all of them, but I've tried some of them, and yeah, they're all recommended by other people or by me, so again, doesn't help everyone, take what you will, leave the rest, all that kind of stuff. So the next part of my talk is going to be how to be that person that, if someone reached out to you, how to handle that conversation. Because a lot of us want to be open to that kind of conversation, right? But I think we don't get a lot of training on how to do things. And it's quite scary for everyone. So I figure if I can give you some tips now about how to have those conversations, how to deal with those conversations, hopefully that will be helpful as well. So, that one. We all want to be like the puppy that doesn't know what it's doing, right? We want to help. Just like puppies want to make you happy, but sometimes it's really hard because we have no idea what we want. So, like I said, I've had the conversations from both sides. So last year I went back to therapy, and I got therapy, my first bit of therapy through the EAP at work, and it was during work time, so I had to say to my boss, look, I need to go back to therapy. And he was like, yeah, fine, whatever you need. Then I got a new job a couple of months later, and I was like, yeah, I'm in therapy. I need to work from home 1 day a week because I did a lot of work on myself, actually, last year. I stopped talking to my family entirely, which was a massive step. I'm much better for it, but I was a bit of a mess at work at times because I was dealing with an awful lot of stuff, and work was amazingly supportive. But I had to have these conversations, and people had to have these conversations with me. And so these kind of tips I've really gathered for the last 12 months of having these conversations. I'm also a mental health first aider. I don't know if people know about the mental health first aid programme. So there's some links again on the slides. So the mental health first aid programme is put on by Mental Health First Aid England, but there's one for Scotland and Wales and all over the world. It's in some 20 odd countries in 19 different languages. And it is a course it's a 2-day course, and it gives you resources and tips on how to help someone in crisis in the workplace. And so I wear a different coloured lanyard at work that signifies that anyone can come and talk to me and go, I'm having trouble, I'm having issues. We'll sit, we'll listen. If someone is struggling, we'll point them to resources. We can deal with people in crisis, everything from depression, anxiety, all the way through to people having a psychotic break, suicide, self-harm. It's a really intense 2 days. It's amazing, though. I highly recommend it. If you can get your work to do it, do it. Because it's really good. It means I've had a lot of these conversations. Is what I'm saying. So, put it this way. That way. So, I have 4 points to this part of my talk. The first one is these conversations are going to be awkward. You are never not going to be awkward in these conversations. Doesn't matter what side of the table you're on. Because the person having trouble is having trouble and is not going to be having my words have gone just thinking about having these conversations. That's the point. Very awkward, very hard to articulate these things, especially if it's someone that they've not spoken to you about before. Sometimes you're off your game. You're thinking about something else. You've got a deadline, and then someone comes up to you and you're like, oh God, I want to help, but I wasn't expecting this and I've got other things to do. Oh Christ, what am I doing? That's fine as well. Just commit to being awkward, but helpful. And make awkwardness part of your plan. Take the awkwardness pressure off you, okay? You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be helpful. Take the perfect pressure off you. It's fine. No one has these conversations perfectly because the other person's not perfect anyway. It is fine. We are all fine. What I want you to focus on, and this kind of leads into my second point, is being present in the conversation. Don't even think about what I'm saying to you now. Don't go, oh, what did Jem say about these conversations? No. Think about the person in front of you, listen to them fully, and centre them. Because, and this is the controversial statement, you're not going to be able to solve their problem. I know, we're problem solvers. I talk a lot to engineers. Their job is solving problems. This is not a problem you're going to be able to solve. The only person who can solve the problem is the person having the problem. And trust me, that's a hard thing for them to swallow as well. It's really hard for me to it was really hard when I realised that I would have to put the work in to stop being so anxious. I wanted someone else just to take that away from me. Wasn't going to happen. So, if someone comes to you and says, I'm having issues, I'm really anxious, I'm really struggling with stress, don't try and solve problems at them. Have you tried whatever isn't actually helpful? The analogy I have is if I come in with 2 bags, a box, and a pint glass of water on the top, and I say to you, can you grab that pint glass, I'm struggling? Would you take the pint glass, or would you say, have you tried finding a table? Do you see what I'm saying? I understand that people want to offer solutions, but when you say, have you tried, what you're saying is, oh no, you deal with that. I'm not even going to help you at all, for not even a little bit. Because by listening, you're taking that burden off them. You're going to have to give it back. You're going to have to give it back. You're going to have to give me the pint glass back, I'm clearly taking it somewhere. But taking it off them just for a minute, just for 5 minutes, can be so helpful. Because you're sharing it with them. And it is uncomfortable. You're going to have to sit and listen to some things that might make you really uncomfortable. But that is so helpful. It is untrue. So focus on listening first. Centre the person and not the scenario, essentially. I will now offer you a script. The script that I use when people come and talk to me and have these things. I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds rubbish. How can I help? Change the wording to fit however you want to speak. I am a swearer. I normally say, that sounds really rough. Or, that sounds shit. I'm really sorry. What can I help? What can I do to help? And they might not know. But you can listen and you can sympathise, and if they ask for advice, you can maybe point them to some resources. If all else fails, you can point them to the Samaritans, 116 123, again, phone numbers on the thing, who can offer them advice if they need to. The fourth one, I'm going to talk about someone who, if someone comes to you and you're worried about them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about self-harm and suicide. So if this is going to make them comfortable, please do leave. Honestly, looking after yourself is more important than listening to this talk. I promise. If you're worried, ask them. You're not going to make them think about it more if they're already thinking about it. Or if they're not thinking about it, you're not going to make them think about it. I'm really worried about you. Are you thinking of hurting yourself? That's all you need to say. If they say no, great. If they say yes, right. Who can I call with you to tell them this? Again, if all else fails, the Samaritans. They are there to do this. They are given the training because you don't have the training to deal with this. And be aware of this, that you don't have the training. You don't have to take sitting with someone who might harm themselves if that's not what you want to do, or if you can't do it, if you're not emotionally, ready for that, because it is terrifying. So, point them to the Samaritans. Point them, if all else fails, drag them to A&E. It's not going to be fun. But them being alive at the end of the day, they may be traumatised, but they'll be alive. Okay? Ask them, but do not take that burden on. Point them to someone trained. Point them to their own support system. Maybe they've got a support system already. That's why I say, who can we call? Can we call someone? Because if they've been through it before, they know. There's people there. They've got a support system built in. Okay? Not going to talk about anything like that again now. We're all good. But honestly, it's terrifying, but ask it, because people will go, thank you for asking. No, I wasn't, but thank you for checking in with me. Because people have done it to me. People have gone to me and gone, I'm really worried about you. I'm like, no, I'm fine. Thank you for asking, but it's fine. I'm always grateful people checking, because you're thinking about me, and you'll want me to be safe. That's amazing. Do not be afraid. The final one, look after yourself. This is hard. It's really hard to be someone's support system, even just for an afternoon, even just for 5-10 minutes. It can really drain you out, because you're providing your emotional support to them, which means you're draining your own emotional support for yourself. Especially if you're dealing with your own shit as well, yeah? So set those boundaries. Say, I've got 5 minutes, but then I need to do a thing. Then look after yourself. Go do some of the stuff that I've talked about today. Go have fun. Go take the day off work early. Do something like that. Do you know what I mean? Look after yourself, because that is just as important, and you don't want to kill yourself looking after other people. So, other side of the table, having that conversation. Terrifying. Going up to your boss, your co-worker, your friends, and going, actually, I'm having a bit of a shit time. Sorry, I hope people don't mind me swearing. I'm so sorry. Should have asked beforehand. Would have sworn anyway, but you know. It's terrifying to go to someone and admit that you're struggling, that you're feeling it's. I still do it often enough, and I've just about got to the point where it doesn't feel like admitting that I'm weak. So I'm not weak. I've got through so much stuff with anxiety. I am resilient as heck, but admitting to someone that I'm struggling, and it's because you can't cope with day-to-day life, is what you're saying, right? And that always feels a bit weird, going, yeah, I don't have the energy to go shower anymore, but there's nothing physically wrong with me, is a really hard conversation to have. So, what I do, assuming you're not in crisis, obviously if you're in crisis, please tell people immediately, as soon as possible, ring the Samaritans, whatever. But if you just need some more accommodations at work or whatever, and if you can feel yourself slowly starting to go, what I do is I start writing things down. Because again, I'm a writer, I write things down. What can work do? So I do it in a work context because that's what I've told people at. What can work do to make me feel better? What ideal scenario would my work life be? Is it taking some time off? Is it trying to work from home more often? Is it time off to go to therapy? Maybe it's transition out of a role. Maybe you've taken a role that isn't for you. Find what it is, and then you can ask for it. And even if you don't ask for it in the end, Even if you have a conversation and you don't ask for it, having that backing means you're more likely to have that conversation, and you'll find that conversation easier. I've said a lot about even if you don't do things, because I find a lot of time I may not do stuff, but having that grounding makes it a lot easier to do the thing even if I don't use the stuff that I've used for the grounding. So, write stuff down or whatever, have that conversation, I just go to someone and go, look, I'm having a hard time. So, I mean, I assume everyone's managers are okay enough that you can go, can I have a word? And they go, having a bit of a rough time. X is happening. Can we do Y to help? Because a lot of the time, from my experience, if you can tell people what you need, they'll be quite happy to give it to you, and they'll be a lot less stressed out by it. Because I remember when I told my first boss last year, I had 2 bosses last year, the first one last year, that I was going back to, that I was struggling. We're in Costas, a media city, having my one-to-one, and I was like, right, is there anything else? I'm like, yeah. I'm really struggling with my anxiety. He was like, right, notepad, pen at the ready. He braced himself, and I went, yeah, so I'm going to get therapy through the EAP. We have an amazing employee assistance program at our work. You can get 6 therapy sessions for free, completely anonymously. Amazing. So I'm going to get therapy through the EAP. I'm going to use that to then go into private therapy. I might need some time off work, depending on when the appointments go. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Anything else? And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I've got a support network. I'm pretty sure going back to therapy will help with that. He was like, oh. You've got everything down then? I'm like, yeah, I might need to work from home a bit more. And he was like, yeah, of course, whatever. And that was it. That was the entire conversation. He was almost disappointed that he couldn't help me more. Which you may find, people go into this all adrenaline and then you're just like, yeah, I just need to work from home. But like, oh, alright, fine. So, that's why I find going prepared in those conversations is easier, because it does mean a little bit that I'm taking a bit of a burden on of managing their emotions a bit, but that is how I feel more comfortable with these conversations, going, yeah, no, actually, I'm fine. I'm just going to deal with this. You just give me permission and then we'll go. So, I'm getting towards the end of my talk, so I hope you all have questions. If not, that's fine. We can have an early thing. This is my goal, right? My anxiety will never go away. I will never not be anxious. There is never a day in my life I'm not going to be anxious. That is just the situation that I am in. And yeah, that's just my life. And I have accepted that into my life, that I am always going to be anxious. That's fine. Maybe I'll always be on meds. I don't know. But I think I just got a bit overheated and.
So are you okay?
No, I'm good. I'm fine. Turns out talking about anxiety makes me a bit anxious sometimes. It's fine. Yes. No, it's fine. This is like my last slide. Literally my last slide. So I'm good. I'm feeling okay now. But yeah. So my ideal day to day is that I can listen to my anxiety when I need to, because sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes being anxious about a piece of software that I'm testing means that I don't know it well enough, and I can do a better job, I can do more investigating. Sometimes it just gets in my way. So my goal is learn to listen to my anxiety, but learn to ignore it when I need to, because it's always going to be there lying to me, going, that person doesn't like you. You're not that good at your job. And it's tough, it's tiring. Some days it feels like my entire life. I have 2 full-time jobs. My actual job that pays me, and then managing my mental health. Sometimes it feels like that, and that's okay. Sometimes I'll do everything right and still be really not okay. And while it's not nice not being okay, I've learned to accept that maybe that is okay at the end of the day, and it's fine. If all you get out of this talk is an insight at what it's like for people, then I hope that's helpful. I'm really hoping you've got some tips out there that you can take away and use, or at least use as a springboard to think about how you think about your mental health. Because, so the reason this talk started is because a friend of mine and a friend of Claire's, Vernon Richards, asked me, I know how to keep myself healthy physically, but I have no idea how to do that mentally. And I was like, I know how to do that. And this is where these talks come from, is because it made me realise that not everyone has had to do this work, and not everyone knows how to do this work. And if I can, it's so much easier to do it if you're feeling okay than when you're feeling rubbish. Trust me. If you're feeling okay now and you can take this toolkit away and build that toolbox for yourself, you'll have it if you ever need it. Hopefully you'll never need it, that would be great, but life kicks you in the face. And if you have a toolbox for dealing with when life kicks you in the face, you'll be able to handle it a lot better. And at least you'll know vaguely what you're doing. So, mental health is kind of how agile, if people know what agile processes is. A lot of agile is you take what works for the team and you throw away what doesn't. And if that changes, you pick up something new and you throw other stuff away. Your mental health can be constantly evolving. So, find stuff here that works for you. Find stuff that isn't in there that works for you. Throw away everything else if it isn't serving you. That is fine. Maybe nothing in this will help you, but maybe you'll go away and think of your own stuff. Thank you for coming and listening to me. Thank you so much. So, I will be around for some of the day because I'm aware asking questions about feelings in a room full of people is hard, so you can come find me. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them now. Oh.
What's that Slack group?
Slack group. So there's a link in the slides, in the last slide, which looks like that. There's the link to the slide. Sorry, thank you for asking that question. So that bit.ly link will take you to this slide deck on Google Docs, and all the speaker notes will be there, and I will tweet it and stuff. But it's called mentalhealthsupport.rocks is the URL that will take you to sign up for our beautiful Slack group. It's just, you'll just sign yourself in, you'll sign up yourself and just get a link. It's not like approved or anything. If you do have issues, ping me and I can add you an email address to it. So, it's fine. Yeah.
What day-to-day changes in your lifestyle / mental to positively affect your mental health would you advocate? What word you put forward?
I personally, keeping a gratitude journal has changed my life in a way that I wasn't thinking it would do. I picked it up thinking, this will be alright. But actually it's made a massive change in how I think. Because at 8 o'clock every day I get a little notification on my phone going, alright, what are you grateful for today? And so I have to sit there and go, right, what am I grateful for today? What interaction, big or small, has added to my day in a positive way? And having that thought, like having to think about that at 8 o'clock in the evening, just gives me a little bit of a boost. And I found that really helpful. Again, when I help everyone, it's such a small thing and I would not believe it myself if I was sitting there and had not done it. But genuinely, that has changed my life in a massive, really positive way. So I would try that. Also, I like to go back and look and realise that I've put, a friend, 5 times in the last month. And then I could go to that friend and go, you've been in my gratitude journal loads recently. Thank you so much for being there. And then you've made that person's day. And you'll increase the amount of kindness in the world. Is that a question, or you just show me your pushing? Because pushing is amazing, and I appreciate that, but I wanted to just having stuff like that as well in my life. Having just little things that are just... I've got a snowball, like a fake snowball, that is, I use as a stress ball, and I also got it from a Christmas party from my old work that someone gave to me, and I'm like, a stress ball, it's nice. Cool, so one thing I do want to say is, in this bag of delights, I've got if people have seen me on Twitter, I've got little self-care maps. So they're little things, they fold out like this, they've got some resources on the back, they've got some bits you can fill in, and if you want one, they're not going to be in the mental health room as well, but feel free to take some. I've also got some other things that I've just had lying around, some things to write out some feelings. Again, they'll go in the mental health room, but if you want to come grab some now, you can, all printed and stapled by my own fair hands, all folded by my own 2 hands. So please feel free to come and grab some. If not, like I said, they'll be in the mental health room next door. There's 200 of these, so please take one. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for giving up an hour of your morning to come and talk to me. Come find me later, and you can have a bit of a break for next talk if you want. Yeah. Excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much.